Welcome back to At Home with Sonja, your cozy corner of the internet for all things home and decor. I am so excited about today's video because we are doing something extra special, an early summer home decorating ideas mega marathon. Whether you're looking for refresh your living room, brighten up your bedroom, update your porch, or just get inspired to make your home feel like summer, you are in the right place. Now I do want to give you a little heads up. I am also including my primary bedroom and bathroom in today's marathon. Some of you may have already seen those from the late spring decorating video, and if you did, hi friends, welcome back. But the decor in those rooms really works beautifully for both seasons, so I wanted to make sure anyone who missed them gets to see the full picture here. And speaking of the full picture, I am ending today's video with a complete home tour so you can see how everything comes together as one cohesive look. Trust me, you're going to want to stick around for that. So grab your coffee, get comfy, and let's transform your home this season together. Let's get right into it. So here's a little look at how my front porch was looking. Yes, I still had my Easter decor up, and the weather has been less than ideal. It was actually only about 10 degrees Celsius the day I filmed this, even though it's mid-May. But it was definitely time to give this space some love. And of course, I brought on my two dogs since they insisted on coming out with me. They're always curious when I'm decorating and love being part of the action. You've probably seen them wandering around in my videos. They are my little creative assistants and never far from my side when I'm working on projects. Whether I'm setting up a new space or filming a DIY, they're right there supervising every step. I got started by removing everything. I won't show the cleaning part, but just know I did give everything a good sweep, remove the old decor, and scrub the decor clean. It feels so good to start with a clean slate, and sometimes that's the most motivating part, right? I'm starting off by hanging the wooden home sign. It used to live in my foyer, but I've got something exciting and brand new going in there. If you follow my DIY channel, you might have already seen it. And if not, make sure to check out the links in the description box. I've got lots of budget-friendly decor ideas there. Next, I'm adding DIY pottery by our inspired forsythia wreath, which brings in the perfect summer pop of yellow. I also hung up my two DIY wreaths. I did consider reworking these wreaths this year, but haven't quite found the inspiration yet. Maybe it'll come later this season, you never know. Now, one of my favorite porch staples, this old rocking chair I found on Facebook Marketplace for $20 years ago. I painted in black and let Mother Nature do the distressing over the seasons. I added a fun lemon themed pillow cover from Temu because lemons and pops of yellow are my go-to summer decor. If you're enjoying the summer decorate with me so far, I'd love if you gave it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. It really helps support my channel, and I love having you here as part of this cozy decorating community. So let's talk about these spots for a minute. I'm not loving the way my recent makeover turned out. I might need to tweak the color, maybe something deeper or just add more texture. But for now, I'm working with what I've got. I picked up two beautiful ferns from Costco for $20 each. They're actually hanging baskets, but I'm removing the hangers and placing them into my pots for that lush green summer porch vibe. To raise them up a bit, I'm using leftover pavers inside the pots. That trick works like a charm. I usually rotate between ferns and palms for my front porch pots. There's just something about that tropical look that feels right for summer. I'm keeping my vintage wash basin in its usual spot, but refreshing it up with a colorful floral arrangement I found at Costco. It was $42, and while I usually keep things more neutral with just greenery, this year I'm embracing a bit of color. I love the mix of blooms and the draping greenery. There's even a lily or two in there that'll pop as it blooms. I decided to bring in some of my thrifted and made over lanterns. The large one was a garage sale find that I gave a fresh coat of spray paint to match my style. The smaller one I've had for years. I gave it all a quick a refresh so they would all coordinate better together, and I really love how they look grouped together out there. I have three lanterns total. You'll see where I style the third one in just a bit. Then came my layered outdoor rugs, both from Hobby Lobby from years ago. We actually picked these up on a trip to Buffalo while we were at the dance competition in Niagara Falls, Canada. I love pieces that have memories attached, even if it's not a decorating related memory, it's still a great memory. Also, don't be afraid to reuse and restyle what you already have in your home. Now, moving on to the other side of the porch, I wanted to create a just picked up from garden moment with a thrifted basket and some full florals for now. But once the garden is in full bloom, I will definitely use some fresh ones. I also added a Dollarama concrete citronella candle in this beautiful concrete pot for just $4. Once the candle burns down, I might reuse the pot or even pour a new candle into it and use it indoors. They have few different designs currently in the store, so check them out if you are looking for some concrete looking pots or concrete pots with candles. This little setup brings in a storybook summer charm that just love, and it's a great example of how simple items can tell a visual story. In the corner, I tucked that third lantern. This one I didn't paint because I love the original finish. And to finish it all off, I'm adding two yellow lumber pillows from HomeSense to tie everything together. They've been in my summer stash for years, and then they're just the right finishing touch for this cozy porch refresh. And that's it, my friends. My simple and cozy summer from porch is ready for the season. Let me know in the comments what your favorite part was, and if there's anything you change, especially those planters. I'm open to your ideas. If you loved this front porch decorate with me, be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on the bell so you don't miss what's coming next. I've got some seasonal home decor and easy DIYs heading your way soon. I'm starting today's decorating in the entryway. With everything cleared except the lamp, it gave me a clean canvas and the perfect opportunity to start fresh. I also removed the old sign because I'm so excited to add a new one, and we're starting with that. This sign was a recent DIY on my other channel, and I'm so pleased with how it turned out. It's exactly what I envisioned for this space. And the best part, it cost me peanuts compared to what I'd spent at a high-end store. What do you guys think? I absolutely love it, and I'll leave a link so you can check out how to make one yourself. Next, I moved on to styling the entryway table. I wanted to do something a bit different this time, so I brought in this lovely light-colored vase. I was inspired by the lushness of my garden. Everything's in full bloom, so I tried to recreate the same fullness and life here. I used cherry blossoms from Dollarama, and then I mixed in some greenery from Timu to give that leafy layered look. I had to bend the stems quite a bit because they were tall, and while I love the way they look together, I'm not fully sold on the scale. The vase might be just a touch too short. I don't have a larger light-colored vase at the moment, but I'm keeping an eye out at Value Village or yard sales for the perfect one. So stay tuned, maybe I'll find something before the summer home tour goes up. For now, though, I'm leaving it as is because I love how the light vase ties into the rest of the space. In the middle of the table, I'm bringing back some of my favorite coffee table books. As I've mentioned before, I've thrifted them mostly for their spines, not necessarily the content. I topped them with a magnifying glass from HomeSense and mortar-style candle I DIY'd, inspired by Olive Atelier. I added a thrifted glass vase next to it, which is a McGee & Co. dupe I scored for about $2 at a thrift store. Moving to the bottom of the table, I usually style a basket with a blanket and a pillow. But for a cleaner summer look, I removed the pillow and simply folded the blanket neatly inside. I love how simplified and fresh it feels now. Next to that, I added another McGee & Co. inspired DIY, a paper mache bowl. I filled it with lemons and limes to bring that little pop of summer color. I think this entryway is feeling cozy, fresh, and perfectly summery now, and even if I'm still on a hunt for that perfect vase. If you're enjoying this video so far, don't forget to give the video a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss a cozy decorating moment. Also, let me know in the comments, would you replace the vase? So let's move into the living room. Just like the entryway, I started by clearing everything out. I have to say, I'm loving having these new blinds here. I installed them during my spring decorate with me, and after 2 years with bare windows, they've made such a difference. I love being able to open them halfway, all the way, or close them completely. I'll link the blinds, curtains, and anything else mentioned in the description box for you. Starting with the mantle, I added a large thrifted vase and filled it with small white flowers from Dollarama. They're wispy and lush, perfect for summer. At first, I planned to use my usual vase here, but then I remembered this urn, another DIY, and I thought, why not bring in something different? I paired it with a wooden sphere that balanced that with candlestick holders on the opposite side. I tried a gold thrifted candle holder, but it didn't quite work, so I ended up using a bronze stone candlestick instead, also thrifted. Funny enough, I dropped one of the candles and broke it in half, but I actually think the shorter height works better on this side. I wasn't 100% sold on the whole mantle setup, but looking at the camera now on my computer, it does look better than I thought. Next to the fireplace, I styled a pot which you might recognize as an old milk can. I transformed it to mimic the look of French-styled aged clay pot. Those can cost hundreds, even thousands, so this was a fun way to get the look for less. It's holding my olive tree, though I'm not sure it's the perfect match. I think a slimmer, taller tree would look better here, but for now, this works. Also, you'll notice the chair was moved over. Someone wanted to be right under my feet while I was decorating. Let's move on to the coffee table. I added a tray, one I originally styled back in January, but a makeover using a soft rattan tone spray paint that's perfect for natural texture. It really pulls all my rattan and woven accents together. Beside it, I placed a white vase, another DIY, and I filled it with florals from Temu. I absolutely love the look of these florals, these green leafy stems. I added a blue book to bring in a bit of cool tone and then layered in the ceramic bowl I made, though sadly one side broke recently. I lifted it while it was full and it wasn't meant to hold heavy items. But it still looks beautiful, so I am using it. I added a candle and then I added some stone beads, yet another DIY from my DIY channel. On the side table, I brought in a rattan jug vase and I filled it with the big banana leaves stem I got years ago from a little shop called Dublin Mercantile. It gives me those tropical summer vibes. I also added another paper mache bowl with some more lemons and limes and then completed the look with a picture frame. So now I revisited the mantle again. I swapped out the I swapped out the candlesticks and moved them to the side table. I added a beautiful thrifted picture I recently spruced up. I loved the print in it, but the frame needed a refresh. I also brought back my wooden lantern, which is honestly one of my most used decor pieces. On the opposite side of the mantel, I replaced the urn and vase with a smaller blue vase to tie in with the rest of the room. I kept playing around, even trying a gold urn, but it didn't work. I landed on a HomeSense head candle holder that's almost identical to a McGee & Co. one, just needed a little paint. Looking at it now, I think the balance works, although it might still tweak the vase. Lastly, I styled the couch with the same pillows as I used in spring. They're versatile and still work beautifully for summer. I think the whole room feels lush, light, and summery. Even though looking at it once I thought I was done, I realized that my corner is still unfinished. So I went ahead and I added some of my hydrangeas that I preserved from last year in just a little pot. And I think now it completes the room. Now that the living room has come together, I'm loving how fresh and airy it feels for summer. There's beautiful balance between cozy textures and that light, breezy vibe that makes this space feel lived in but elevated. From the soft layers of the mantle to the rattan touches and cheerful pops of green and citrus, everything ties in to bring that cozy and fresh feeling we're going for. I played around with a few elements until it felt just right, and sometimes that's where the magic happens, right? It's not about perfection, it's about creating a home that feels like you. I'm starting today's summer decorating in our formal dining room. Although it's formal in name, we actually use this space every single day. As always, I begin by clearing off the surfaces and leaving just a few anchor pieces to stay here year round, like the olive tree in the corner, which only moves during Christmas, and the large pot in the opposite corner, which works with almost every season. I started styling the hutch by adding one of my favorite landscape paintings. This was actually a wedding gift. While I adored the artwork, I'm not in love with the frame. I've just ordered some gilding wax to give it a refreshed, antique inspired look while preserving the original feel since it's by a well known artist. Originally, I planned to add in one of my large garden style baskets, but it didn't quite fit, so I went with this wall basket instead. I filled it with cascading greenery from Dollarama and ended up actually moving it to the opposite side to balance out the space, since the olive tree was already adding visual weight to the right. On the opposite end of the hutch, grouped a few of my neutral pottery vases, no greenery this time, just simple shapes and textures. I've seen this style in few Pottery Barn catalogs and I thought it would be fun to try it here. To give the basket a little more height, I tucked in a couple of boxwood stems also from Dollarama. On the top shelf, I finally found the perfect spot for this sweet little teapot I thrifted a few years ago. I've been wanting to use it, and I love how it looks here. On the lower shelf, I added a rattan style pot with more greenery and rearranged a few pieces from my fine china set, which was another wedding gift and always has a home in this room. I also added one of my newest DIYs, a little gold bird inspired by a piece from Simone and Ivy, or maybe Simon and Ivy. I can't quite remember how I don't quite know which one it is. Either way, I recreated it and shared a tutorial over on my DIY channel. On the bottom shelf, I added a dough bowl with candle, and beside it, I placed a rattan vase I spray painted in a warm nutmeg color. That vase was from Timu, and the florals inside were also a budget-friendly find. On the other end, I added a vintage thrifted gold bowl and I filled it with lemons and lime. Such an easy way to add color and that summer feel. I felt like the space in the middle needed something. And while a vintage frame print would be perfect, I ended up using one of my all-time favorite DIY signs for now. If I find that perfect piece down the line, I might switch it out, but for now, I'm happy with this. I added a small stack of mugs to the corner just to cozy up the space a bit more. And after stepping back and looking at everything together, I really love how it all turned out. I did end up switching few things around as well as the rattan vase, and I switched it out for one textured off white vase to break up the similar materials. It just felt a little too matchy. Let me know which one you prefer. For my table, I brought in a subtle pop of color with the soft sage blue table runner I picked up at HomeSense a few years ago. I did give it a quick spray of wrinkle release and weighted down the corners since my iron and steamer are both broken. Add those to the to buy list. On top, I added a scalloped wicker tray, a thrifted or a yard sale find, can't quite remember which, and one of my DIY pottery style vases and some delicate faux daisies. These florals will work beautifully for summer and even transition into early fall. Since we use this table daily for my family dinners, I keep the centerpieces simple and skip the full table settings. Those are better saved for special videos. Going all over to the bar cart, although I don't use it as a bar, it's a great surface to decorate. I added a beautiful fluted style vase with a narrow neck. If anyone knows what this type of vase is called, let me know in the comments. I paired it with some of my favorite wooden candlesticks, fall wooden candlesticks, and and candles. For greenery, I used a few long, wispy stems with a soft pepper leaf look. These were a dollar store find, and I actually removed the tiny fall peppers they came with for a more organic look. On the bottom shelf, I placed my footed rattan bowl from Temu and filled with some DIY moss balls. I looked up summer bowl filler ideas, and these kept popping up as a traditional option, so I guess I'm on trend. And that wraps up decorating my dining room. I just love how this space came together. It feels so bright, cheerful, and airy, which really lifts the whole mood of the home. At the same time, there's such a cozy and inviting feel to it, with all the warm textures and thoughtful little touches. It's the perfect balance between fresh and comforting, and I'm so happy with how it all turned out. Now let's head into the family room, or as some call it, a gathering room. This space is used daily by our entire family. I've already fluffed and styled the pillows on our couch, which I absolutely love, but the fabric is a challenge. I recently found out it's code S, meaning no water-based cleaners, so no more little green machine for these. If you've been here for a while, you know I almost all of my vases are thrifted or DIY'd. And I styled this one on top of the stack of books on my coffee table. And then I filled it with some pretty petite florals from Dollarama. Funny enough, I saw a Pottery Barn summer catalog that used nearly identical florals on their coffee table. Mine were only $3 a stem, though a still bit more than I like to pay, but they were too dainty and sweet to pass up. I used the seagrass scallop tray I recently found at HomeSense for $10. Such a good price, I thought. And inside, I placed my marble coaster, another thrifted find for $3, a stone pot from Dollarama, and a touch of greenery. I also tucked in a concrete looking bird that I DIY'd from Dollar Tree piece. Again, full tutorials on my DIY channel. And I also forgot to mention that I added a vintage candle snuffer here as well, which was a yard sale find for $1. To finish the tray, I added a wooden bowl and a candle. And this completes the coffee table. Simple, layered, and cozy without blocking the TV view. On the side table, I finally found the perfect piece I've been searching for. It's round, a great height, and just the right size. I got it for only $20. It needs so much TLC though, since the previous owners kept it outdoors. So it's going to be a fun project coming up on the channel. So make sure my DIY channel. So make sure you stay tuned for that. And if you're not following me on a DIY channel, the link is down below. And I'm talking about the side table. But for now, I am styling this side table with the rattan vase from the dining room, and I filled it with some thrifted daisies, and then I added a rattan box. I was worried that the texture might clash, but they actually completed each other really nicely, and I love having the little box to hide the remotes and also my reading glasses in there when not in use. Starting with the blank slate, I had already cleaned and removed everything off the counters that wasn't functional or seasonal. I always like to keep out items we use daily, but everything else gets a reset for the season. I'm starting at the back corner of the kitchen, where I added a thrifted wooden bowl to warm up the space and contrast all the white tile and quartz. To brighten things up, I filled it with some fall lemons and limes. I just love how much life and color citrus brings to a summer kitchen. To help cover up some of the visible outlets and add a layered look, I brought in a woven tray, another thrift find, and leaned a few cutting boards against the wall for a height. I also added a pottery style vase I scored at a garage sale for just $1 and popped in some yellow Dollarama florals. Beside that, a small wooden tray holds everyday items like garlic. It's functional but still cute. On the opposite side of the stove, I added the wine and cheese board from Pottery Barn. Believe it or not, I found it at a garage sale for $3. I sanded it and stained it to the color I wanted. On top, I placed a champagne bucket turned vase or a pot. Thank you to my subscriber who helped identify it. And I filled it with wooden spoons and some dough hooks I use often. Next to that is a frame print by a Canadian artist, another thrifted treasure, and I added my salt and pepper shakers in front salt and pepper mills in front of it. For even more texture, I placed a small concrete pot from Dollarama and added a bit of greenery. When I stepped back, I realized one side of the kitchen had more yellow than the other, so I swapped the yellow florals for some fern-like stems to balance it out. I also replaced the little green pot with a single yellow bloom, and that really helped pull everything together. If you're enjoying these simple and fresh summer decorating ideas, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. It really helps my channel grow. And if you love cozy functional decor on a budget, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss any of my upcoming videos. Moving on to the island. I brought back one of my favorite trays and jug vases. I use them all the time for seasonal styling. If you're looking for island styling ideas, I have a whole video with multiple summer looks. I'll link it in the cards above. Inside the jug vase, I added these beautiful green hydrangeas I found on a garage sale for just $1. I paired that with a candle from HomeSense. It has a pretty yellow trim and a delicate blue design. And then I brought in a simple white pitcher filled with those same yellow flowers I removed earlier. This little switch really made the island feel cohesive and bright. Now let's head to Coffee Nook. I moved things around a bit for fresh feel. I started by adding a small woven lamp from Temu to brighten up the corner. Then I brought my black vase to add some height and topped it with and added some wispy vase stems, also from Temu, that I think look so light and summery. Above the nook, I have two floating shelves. On the lower one, I place my McGee & Co. vase dupe with a bit of greenery, a small concrete pot filled with spoons and few coffee essentials. The upper shelf is always a bit tricky to record and decorate, but I added a thrifted frame. I gave a little DIY makeover, along with another concrete pot and some greenery. On the opposite side, I tucked in a small jug vase with floral stems and sweet little pottery vase, all thrifted. The yellow flower helped tie everything together beautifully, and the flowers in the vase came from Temu. The last area I decorated is the open shelf beside my pantry. I added a Temu basket and filled it with fall lemons and limes. And here's a little trick: if you don't have many, just fill the bottom with newspaper or a towel and top paper towel, or top it with one layer to give the illusion of a full basket. I thrifted so many fall lemons and limes over the years, it became a little obsession. I also placed a little DIY art piece I made on my DIY channel and a potted herb plant that I hope to grow soon. But for now, it just has a artificial one from Dollarama. Under the shelf, I hung a kitchen towel, a cute watering can, and another Temu basket where I store garlic and onions. It's a small touch, but it really adds interest and personality to an otherwise plain wall. While it's more decorative than functional, I love how it brings warmth and charm to this little corner of my kitchen. And that wraps up today's summer kitchen refresh. I hope you found a little inspiration for your own home, whether it's adding pops of color, styling with thrifted treasures, or just bringing in a bit of that fresh summer feel. If you enjoy decorating with me, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. It truly helps my channel more than you know. And if you're not already part of this cozy little community, I'd love to have you. So hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell so you don't miss any of the seasonal inspiration I have coming your way. Thanks for spending part of your day with me, and until next time, happy decorating, friends. Here is what my bedroom looks like now. It's been like this since I took down the Christmas decor. I was really hoping to do a full makeover, but there's just so much I want to do. I still haven't found the perfect bed yet, and I also want to tackle painting the walls, adding an accent wall, and updating the trim and flooring. However, those big changes will have to wait for now, so I've decided to give the room a mini spring refresh. I just can't stand the way it looks anymore, so it's time to add some new touches, new pillows, and new decor. This will be a simple refresh until I'm ready for a full makeover. First, I've already made the bed and added my bedding. I absolutely love this bedding I got from Temu last year during I shared this in the fall haul, and it's perfect for spring, especially our spring here. I'm adding in some decorative pillows. Usually I go with big Euro pillows at the back, but today I wanted to try something different. I've been using the Euro style for years, but I thought it was time to switch it up. I've added these striped pillows from HomeSense that I picked up a few years ago. They're a great texture and perfect for a fresh look. Next, I'm adding these beautiful accent pillows that I found on Temu. The brown tones and floral patterns are exactly what I'm loving this season. For the lumbar pillow, I used a pillowcase from Temu as well. It's it all ties together beautifully. Now I was debating on which blanket to add. My bed is massive, and finding the right blanket that fits properly is a challenge. It's still very cold here in Ontario, and we're actually getting hit by the biggest storm of the year tonight. So I like to have an extra blanket at the foot of the bed just in case I need to pull it up. Sometimes the duvet is just too much for me, especially lately when I've been running a bit hot, but I do need extra warm for those chilly nights. Moving on to my side table, I'm keeping the same lamps that I've had for a while, but I gave them a little makeover. Here's what the lamp looked like before, and I gave it 2 coats of charcoal chalk paint from Rust-Oleum for a fresh, updated look. It gives the lamp a much needed refresh, and I'm loving how it's turned out. How it turned out. The lampshades are starting to look a little yellow on the inside after years of use, so I might replace them soon, but for now, they work. I also added a small vase with dried hydrangeas from my garden. I sprayed them with hairspray to help keep them intact and thought a few flowers have fallen off. They're still holding up beautifully. I did cut them in springtime, not now. To complete the look, I added a couple of books and placed the vase on top. It adds a simple touch of greenery to the side table. The other side of the table is my husband's, and he likes to keep it clear, so I've just added a small basket for his things, ski, phone, wallet, and that kind of stuff. Next, let's talk about my dresser. I had this DIY sign on it for a while, but I'm moving away from signs with words and just wasn't loving it anymore. So I decided to repurpose it. Inspired by a piece I saw on Wayfair that was priced at almost $800, I created my own version using drywall compound to give it a textured look. I'll share a full tutorial all over on my DIY channel, so make sure you've subscribed if you want to see it. I also add the link is in the description box. I also added some stripes using a daycare craft tool, which really added a unique touch. So I'm placing this painting back onto my dresser, playing around until trying to figure out which way to place it and which way looks better. The best way is to place an object that you want to use, step back, have a look, and if it's not working, play around with it, step back, and just repeat the process until you are satisfied with the way things look. Now, this painting was a wedding gift from my husband's cousin from Europe, and it has a certificate of authenticity. The frame isn't exactly my favorite. It's hunter green, so I might paint it or update it in the future. But for now, it's perfect on the dresser. I'm adding my new DIY vase to this space. This was a thrift find that I recently made over on my DIY channel. You can check that out. It's also in the description box. And I also talked about it in my recent haul video. To style it for spring, I'm adding some greenery from Temu. After stepping back and looking at it, I felt like something was missing. So I decided to add a wicker vase from Temu as well, along with some more greenery, and then a candle and a candle holder. But when I stepped back again, I wasn't loving it. I felt too crowded on my husband's side of the bed. So I switched things around and I moved the vase to the other side and paired it with another black vase. Then I added some beautiful silk flowers from Temu. At that point, I was really happy with how it was coming together. And now it was time to move on to the other side of the dresser. And here I added my new thrifted coffee table book. My husband wanted me to include this cross somewhere, so I tried to find the right spot for it. I ended up laying it on top of the dresser. And to finish off the styling, I placed a DIY bowl with some wicker balls on top of the book. Next up is the fireplace area. It took me a while to figure out how to style it. I played around with vases, pictures, and decor, but nothing was really working. I also wanted to mention that I do want to remake some of the furniture as well as this fireplace here. I really enjoy the new furniture with natural wood look, but I'm not sure whether I should do the whole three sets, all the dressers and the nightstands in that color, or if I should mix and match, maybe add some black. I will not be replacing the furniture pieces, I will just be making them over. And also, I want to do a little spruce up of this fireplace. If you guys have any ideas on what would look good, I would love to know down in the comments. At this point, I felt like the wicker vase that I had placed here wasn't working, so I ended up switching it out for a block vase from the dresser, and I added the wicker vase back onto the dresser, which you'll see in just a minute. After trying a few different combinations, I added some long leafy greenery from Timu for height and balance, which really completed the look. On my tall dresser, I wanted to add some personal touches to the space. The piece of driftwood was a souvenir from a cottage where we spent many summers. My golden retriever loved swimming at the lake, and it holds a lot of sentimental value. I also added some pictures and DIY wooden bowl with a candle for some warmth and coziness. I also brought in another black vase and added that original fall flowers that were in the block vase on a dresser into this one, and I think this looked much better. I do feel that I need to purchase some more artwork, whether it thrifted or create some DIY artwork wouldn't be bad either, because I am finding that this room was lacking in that. I am adding some personal pictures as you saw, but I feel like that little frame that's at the back of the pictures is just not working right now, and I think some vintage print would look really good here. Now back to the fireplace, I did add this little wicker basket. I think this is great. I'm going to be leaving my jewelry here when not wearing it. So now let's take one last look at the refreshed bedroom. I love how the room feels cozy, lived in, and full of character without being too crowded. It's exactly what I needed for this mini spring refresh. And finally, here's a look at the room with just the lamps on for some soft ambient lighting. I think looks so cozy and peaceful, and I'm really happy with how it all came together. So first things first, I wanted to show you how our master ensuite was looking before the refresh. The very first thing I did was remove the blinds. Honestly, I was never happy with them. They were frustrating to use, especially the one above the tub. Cleaning them was a hassle and they made the whole window area feel heavy. So down they went. Once the blinds were gone, I cleaned the windows and decided it was also the perfect time to paint the trim. I picked up paint in Decorator's White. It's a Benjamin Moore color, but I had it color matched at Rona using Valspar paint. I actually love both brands, but with Benjamin Moore's store near me closed, this was an easy and affordable workaround. Painting the trim gave it a crisp, fresh look that instantly elevated the space. For window coverings, I chose motorized Roman shades from Two Pages. They're part of their Liz collection and they're in taupe gray. I opted for a single remote to control both shades, and while I could have installed them myself, I did recruit my husband to help. They were super easy to install, just a few screws for the brackets, and you're done. I love that I can open the window halfway while still maintaining privacy, and the clean look is such an upgrade from the old blinds. Next up, I added a curtain from Two Pages. It is a Sarah Lee print linen drapery, and I got it and it's pleated. And I'm going to be using it as a shower curtain. I did also purchase a shower curtain as a liner because obviously the fabric would not prevent the water from coming through. And I'm adding them all onto the clip. I added hanging clips, which the curtain comes, which make adjusting the length super simple, and I spray painted the rings in an antique brass finish to match the rest of the space. I couldn't find a shower rod that fit my opening perfectly, so I spray painted the one I had in matte black instead. It worked perfectly and helped tie the space together. Even though I was working backwards here, but I decided to paint the walls. and I did it off camera, and I was using accessible, and I painted them with the accessible beige by Sherwin-Williams. But I also got a color matched at Rona for a more affordable price. I originally had a cool toned gray, but over time it started pulling purple. I was a little hesitant with the beige since it has warm brown undertones, but once it was on the walls, I loved how it balanced the space. It felt cozy, soft, and fresh. While I would love to replace the tiles, install a freestanding tub, and update the counters one day, those bigger transformations are in the budget right now. So this refresh is all about working with what we have and making the space feel intentional and beautiful. I pick up a few affordable items to bring everything together, and I got them all from Dollarama. I grabbed a few mini potted greenery pieces with cement style base for $4.50 each, plus a larger plant for $5. I also picked up glass jars with bamboo lids, two for 5 and one for 4, and a cork lidded bottle for $3. I also grabbed two amber pump bottles for $2.50, which I'll be customizing in just a minute. For bath products, I stocked up on some scrubbers, brushes, bath bombs, bath salts, and body wash. Everything was super affordable and love having these items displayed and within easy reach. So let's move on to a couple of quick and easy DIYs. First, I gave new life to this little clawfoot tub I thrifted. It was originally pink, but I spray painted it white years ago. This time, I used a mix of antique gold and metallic gold spray paint to give it a warm luxe finish. Then I added some Dixie Belle gilding wax in antique gold to the lids of the amber bottles. This small detail makes them look so much more expensive and cohesive with the rest of the space. Now for the fun part, let's decorate. On the shelf, I started with my McGee & Co. dupe hurricane candle holders, which I DIY'd over on my main DIY channel. I styled them with one of the concrete potted plant. I added a concrete potted plant and a vintage art print, which I'll be sharing in an upcoming video, and some neutral toned candles. On the second shelf, I added towels, another plant, and a HomeSense candle that's nearly identical to a designer one from McGee & Co., and it fits perfectly as decor. If you're curious about the shelves and the mirror, I actually DIY'd them in a full bathroom makeover video a few years back. I'll try to link that for you in the corner. Now, before we move on to decorating my bathtub around my bathtub area, I filled up some of these. I filled up my glass jars and bottles. I filled the bottle up with the pineapple coconut body wash I found at Dollarama for $5. It's listed on Amazon for 15, so a great deal. I added Epsom salts and bath bombs to the glass jars, and I also styled the clawfoot tub with the lavender shower steamers and a few other bath items from Lush. I also filled up my amber bottles with some soap. I do buy soap in bulk, so this is a more affordable and more environmentally friendlier option than buying individual soaps every time you need it. So over at the bathtub area, I added this tin piece I DIY'd. It's another McGee & Co dupe that I'll be sharing in a video later this week over on my DIY channel. And I'm using it here to corral all of my Bath and Body products for washing. And I initially placed it on the side of the tub, and then I decided to move it to the other side to better balance the space. I also added the larger fall plant I picked up at Dollarama. And speaking of which, Dollarama currently has a nice selection of fall greenery in different styles, and for just $5 each, they're a great deal. You can even place them in a larger pot or a riser to give them more height and presence if you want more substantial looks. I kept playing around with the setup a bit, moving things around from one side to the other until it felt just right. You'll see how it all comes together in a final reveal. I also added a pair of tapered candle holders that I ordered from Temu. They're super affordable, and I'll try to link them down below. I popped in a couple of simple white taper candles from a dollar store. These are just for decor though, I won't be burning them. I actually use a diffuser in here instead because my daughter gets anxious about the idea of lit candles being left on. So this is a compromise that still gives that cozy finished look without the worry. To finish this area off, I brought in a simple vase and styled it with an olive tree branch for an organic touch. On the counter, I thrifted a seagrass tray for just $3 and styled it with a white glass base filled with another thrifted find, and I filled them with white fall peonies from Dollarama. I picked those up for $3.50 each. I also added the jars and few daily use essentials, and it feels fresh, pretty, and practical. And then I also filled up the amber bottles with some hand soap for a less wasteful and more affordable hand soap supply. And here is the final reveal. I absolutely love how this bathroom turned out. It feels cozy, organic, and just a little bit vintage, which is exactly what I was going for. I'm now debating if I should repaint the vanity. It used to be a maple tone and I painted it white a few years back. It's held up well, but I am craving something new. I'm thinking maybe a deep green or a mushroom tone or even something Pottery Barn inspired. Let me know what colors you think would look best in the comments. The biggest game changer were definitely the Roman shades and the curtain turned shower curtain. Those two swaps alone made the room feel totally different. And not having to step into the tub to open the window is life changing. So here is what the yard looks like right now. We have redone all the stones already, and then we also added a new layer of mulch. I will insert I think I have a photo or a video of what it looked like before or shortly after it was done, before the mulch came. And then we still need to trim some of the bushes here, and then I just need to clean this area up a little bit. My husband will be pressure washing at a later date, so I will not be showing pressure wash deck. That will come, well, that will be done later, so I will not be, it's not going to be part of this video as much as I would love it to be. So unfortunately, because we are working together and certain members of the family don't want to be in the video, I will have very short clips of what I'm doing, and then I will do a full reveal at the end of the whole thing, how it looks put together. So I'm going to get started. I started by cleaning out a few of these hanging planters. I've had herbs growing in them for a while now, and honestly, I usually don't do much in the fall. I just let things be and wait to see what might come back in the spring. Sure enough, my oregano always returns, so I'm keeping that where it is. And surprisingly, it looks like some basil has come back too. I gave it a little rub, and yep, it smelled just like basil, so I'm letting it stay and see how it does. Now that I've seen what's coming back, I'm adding in a few more herbs. Over the years, I've learned which ones I use the most, so I'm keeping it simple and intentional. Along with the oregano and basil, I added cilantro and a flat leaf parsley. Those are the ones I reach for the most in the kitchen. I didn't want to load the planters with random herbs I never end up using. I do love dill, but I never had a much luck growing it in a planter. It just doesn't seem to thrive. I also tried Thai basil and curly parsley in the past, but this year I am sticking with the basics: oregano, basil, cilantro, and parsley. It's just easier and more practical for how we cook around here. Another little area I wanted to give some attention to is this corner by the fire table, the one up near the barbecue. I absolutely love this spot, especially in the evenings, but it does get messy quickly. The plants around here tend to poke through the decking, and some of the branches were getting a little wild, creeping in where they shouldn't. So I definitely need a little refresh. My husband is also going to pressure wash the deck soon. Most of it is already cleaned off, but a good deep cleaning just makes everything feel fresh again. I went ahead and wiped down the fire table, and now I actually have a big wood burning fire pit down below in the yard, and we love that one too. But this smaller gas one up here is perfect for those cozy nights when it's just the two of us. It's so easy, no hauling wood or building a fire, just turn it on, and instantly you got that warm, glowing ambiance. It's our little escape, especially on chilly evenings. Next, I picked up a few hanging baskets to brighten things up a bit. I have lots of greenery, lots of lush greenery, but I feel like my space is lacking a little bit of flowers. So instead of hanging them, I like to nestle them into large planters I already have. It's such an easy way to add a burst of color without having to replant everything. First, I had to adjust the soil level in the planters so that the baskets would sit just right. Once they were in place, I simply removed the hanging hooks and they fit beautifully. I think it looks so pretty and polished this way, like an instant garden refresh with minimal effort. After I had the kids help me tidy up the rest of the patio area, picking up any leftover trash or random bits that had blown in. Once everything was cleared away, I gave the whole patio a good rinse. We don't typically pressure wash this section since we have grout sand between the pavers, and I'm always worried that the pressure washer will blow it out. So instead, we just hose it down and give it a gentle scrub, which works well and keeps everything intact. While I was at it, I also cleaned off the outdoor dining table and chairs. I don't usually keep much on the table day to day. I like to keep it clear for the most part because it just saves me the hassle of having to clear everything off every time it rains. But when I'm expecting company or having a little dinner outside, I'll dress it up a bit. Recently, I DIY'd some candle holders that I'm pretty excited about. I was inspired by some beautiful ones I saw from Pottery Barn, but instead of splurging, I thrifted few glass holders and gave them a makeover. I frosted some of them for that soft, diffuse glow and left others clear for contrast. They turned out so pretty. They add just the right touch of warmth and charm without being over the top. It's those little details that make the space feel extra cozy and welcoming. And that's about it for decorating and tidying up. I planted a few things, cleaned out some of the planter boxes, gave everything a good wipe down, and focused on the lower part of the patio to really freshen it up. So here's a little tour of how everything's looking now. Over on the side, I have the rain barrel, and just to the left of it, a small seating area, perfect for quiet coffee or a glass of wine in the evening. We also have two barbecues and a cooler tucked in here. Not a bar car though, that would be nice, maybe someday, but for now the cooler does the job when we are entertaining. I also added a few little lanterns here and there. I actually put them out the day before filming, so I didn't get a chance to mention them earlier, but I love how they add that soft, cozy glow. Over on this side is another small seating area with a lantern as well, and I popped a solar light inside of it so it lights up beautifully at night. I'll try to include a little clip of what everything looks like once the sun goes down. It really does feel magical with all the lanterns glowing. However, the day that I was recording the evening tour, it was a little bit cloudy and some of my lanterns weren't turning on. Here's a look at the dining table with the glass candle holders I DIY'd. I think they're going to look so pretty when they're all lit up in the evening. This table is definitely due for a little makeover, which I'm planning to tackle in the next couple of weeks. It's still holding up great, but it could use a bit of love. The gardens are looking really beautiful this year, and of course, Duke had to come out and show off all of his toys. He was very proud to display every single one of them while I was filming. And Frank is somewhere out here as well, probably hiding somewhere in a shade. One of the biggest transformations has been the stonework. We pulled out all the river rock, replaced the old landscaping fabric with new cloth, and then put the rocks back in. It just looks so much cleaner and neater now. We also topped up all the mulch, which helped define the space and make everything feel more intentional. The play area has been working out really well too. Everything has its own spot and it feels organized, which is always the goal. The grass could use a bit of help still, but honestly, considering we have two extra large dogs, I think it's holding up pretty well. We're starting out on the front porch, which I kept simple and welcoming with layered textures and some soft greenery. I refreshed the doormat layers, added a couple of fresh potted plants, and styled a few lanterns with battery candles for that cozy glow in the evenings. It really sets the tone before you even walk in the door and feels like a calm, curated entry into our home for the summer. As we head into the entryway, I made just a few subtle tweaks that really lightened the space. I swapped out the stems in the larger vase for something more airy and organic to give that open, breezy feel right as you walk in. The lamp got a little elevation, literally, per suggestion of one of you, by placing it on top of a few stacked decor books. Then I moved the pieces that were originally on the books over to a gold tray, which helped balance the entire surface. These simple swaps made the space feel even fresher and intentional without buying anything new. In the living room, I made changes on the mantle and the coffee table to bring in more of a light and coastal summer vibe. I added a brand new focal point to the mantle, this DIY seashell sculpture that I created over on my DIY channel. It's a Pottery Barn dupe and one of my favorite projects this season. I paired it on the other side with a simple boxwood planter, which adds life and color but keeps everything looking clean and classic. The combination of neutral textures and greenery gives the whole space a lived-in yet elevated feel. It's the perfect blend of cozy and fresh. And speaking of the Pottery Barn dupes, I also swapped out my stone garland that I had here on a tray on the coffee table for these sea glass beads that I just made again over on my DIY channel. This added even more of that coastal summer vibe. The dining room flows right off the hallway, and I always try to keep things cohesive here. I layered some simple linens on a table, added a DIY floral arrangement with some pot flowers, and styled a few wood and ceramic pieces in the whole space for warmth. This space feels grounded and inviting, ready for casual family meals or summer gatherings. I kept the textures earthy and the palette soft, which really complements the rest of the home. If you've been enjoying this summer tour so far, I'd love for you to give this video a thumbs up and leave a comment below letting me know which space has inspired you the most. And don't forget to subscribe if you're new here. There's so much more to come, and if you want the full breakdown of each room, including DIYs, product sources, and decorating tips, I've linked my summer decorating playlist in the description box, and you can also check out my DIY channel, which is also linked in the description box. So it's got everything you need. In the family room, I didn't do a full overhaul but focus on textures. I added a couple of fresh pillow covers in soft green and brought in a lightweight blanket to drape over the arm of the couch. I also updated the coffee table with few summer accents, like vase filled with summer stems, a tray, some books, and a nice summer candle. Now into the kitchen, one of my favorite places to decorate seasonally. On the island, and changed up the vases and added some new stems that feel lighter and more organic. I kept the color palette simple, mostly greens, yellows, and whites to complete the soft tones in the rest of the home. And I also love incorporating earthy tones and natural textures throughout my home with warm wood accents and lots of woven rattan pieces for a cozy, relaxed summer feel, and that I continued in my kitchen as well. I love how small shifts like this can completely transform a room. And finally, we're wrapping up this tour in our backyard patio, a space that really shines in the summer. I wanted this area to feel like a continuation of the indoors, cozy, calm, and functional. And that is a wrap on our early summer decorating mega marathon. I hope you are walking away feeling inspired and ready to bring some of that fresh summer energy into every room of your home. If you enjoyed today's video, please give it a big thumbs up. It really means the world to me and helps this channel grow. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss a new video here at Our Home with Sonja, and hit that notification bell so you're always the first to know when I post. I would love to see how you're decorating your home this summer, so drop your photos or ideas in the comments below or tag me on the Instagram. Until next time, keep making your home a place you absolutely love, and I'll see you in the next one.